Hey guys, I'm Walt, K4OGO, currently working in Poland here for a few weeks on a work trip as SP/K4OGO. If you subscribe to the channel, you know I live in an HOA situation and can't really have much of an antenna at home. I have a vertical there, that's about it. But I like to get out and work portable and build different antennas on the beach. I live right by the sea, so out on the Atlantic Ocean, on the Chesapeake Bay, down on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, I do a lot of antenna building and experimenting with different antennas. When I'm here, I have this big backyard and plenty of space and area to experiment with other antennas, like horizontal antennas, sloping antennas, and what have you. Well, I brought along with me an antenna I wanted to try out, built by a good friend of mine, Tim, N9SAB, and it's a half-square antenna for 20 meters. And this thing is, with a half-square antenna for 20 meters, it's corner-fed. Well, I have two 7 meter poles, and what I did is put it up and put this thing on it. Unfortunately, these cheap poles I brought with me just wouldn't support the antenna. It basically looked like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, if you know what I mean. So I took it down and I said, you know what, let me do some research. I wanted to know, and I was just wondering, can I feed this thing from the bottom? On the bottom corner or bottom of a wire instead of the top corner. And I looked around and I actually found some really great information. Here on YouTube, my friend Tim, G5TM, did a wonderful video outlining this antenna and showed that this, when you feed it from the bottom, you've got to use, to get a match, you got to use a 49-to-1 or a 64-to-1 down at the bottom to get an impedance match. But it also made it a multi-band antenna. So for 20 meters, it gives it that same bidirectional gain, but for 40 meters, it turns it into almost an NVIS type antenna, which would be great for me, working throughout Europe here. And also it would give me 15 and 10 meters as well. There's some other videos out there too. I'll put some links to these videos down in the description here. Waters of Stanton, his channel has a really good, he actually builds it and shows it like I'm going to. A couple good videos on it. My friend Callum McCormick, DX Commander, he also has done an outline of it with a 40 meter half square that he intends to build. Well, fortunately, I was on a live stream with Callum this past week, and I was explaining to him what I was doing. And while we were there talking, he modeled this thing and showed me a model. Unfortunately, I can't model an antenna here with the computer I have. It's a work computer, and I can't add software to it. And I really wanted to see, in a model, what it would look like. Well, Callum was nice enough during the stream to quickly put together this thing with two 5-meter verticals and then 10 meters across, showing me what this thing looked like as far as gain and what it was doing for me on 20 meters, which was pretty amazing. Well, I'm going to show you. I put this antenna up and had really good success with it. Here it is. This is the antenna. Okay, here's the setup. It's my 10 antennas, 49-to-1, made in the USA. Brought that with me. About 6 turns on the coax, at about 4.5 inches round. There's the it's a beach umbrella spike, spirals into the ground. I got 16 feet 5 inches up on my 7-meter pole, and then going over, got a little bit of a sag in it. It's about the best I can do. And coming down 16 feet 5 vertical on the other side. So basically it's the same setup over there. It's a beach umbrella spike. I got 2 of these 7 meter poles, so not quite perfectly square, but the 2 verticals hopefully are square enough. And we'll see how this works. After getting this thing up with my Zygo G90, I checked SWR and it was decent. I mean, I could probably not use a tuner, but it was up on all the bands. Somewhere around 1.7-to-1 in that neighborhood, and I'm sure I could probably experiment with the wire, lengthen it or shorten it, and gotten it, brought it in a little bit better. But I just wanted to get up and going, so I used the ATU to get on the air. One thing that just amazed me as I was on the air was throughout anywhere on 20 meters, especially here in Europe, when I was talking, the signal reports I was getting were just phenomenal. I was getting your 5.9 plus 5, your 5.9, 10 over. Some just incredible signal reports with just my 20 watts, and this thing aimed in different directions. I aimed this thing in Italy. I mean, there's a lot of guys down there, and sure enough, man, all of my contacts down there were unbelievable. Guys couldn't believe that I was only 20 watts. I was just getting some amazing signal reports. Here's an example.
Okay, my good friend, okay, SB, Sugar Papa slash K4OGO, Oscar Golf Oscar. It's nice to have you from the remote station. You're 5 to 10 dB over S9.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. You're the same, about 5 to 10 dB over 9 as well. I'm in the north of Poland. We've worked a few times before. This is wonderful. I work you from Poland, and I've also worked you from my home QTH in Virginia in the United States. So thanks for taking the call.
Thank you, Walt. Appreciate your call. It's nice to signal here. You said right. We had already here QSO with the SB station from you. 73. Thank you, Walt.
Thank you, 73.
All the very best. Italy Union 3. Bravo. Tango Yankee.
Well, it's pretty convincing for me. I know this antenna was really doing well and absolutely bidirectional. As I moved this thing around, it was actually pretty simple. Here's a quick example of how I moved this antenna around. Turning this antenna was so easy. Just drop the antenna, pull the spike out of the ground, line up the angle I wanted to put it at, kind of get my bearing straight, put the umbrella spike back down in the ground, pick up the antenna, drop it in, and tighten it up. That's all it was. Okay, I wanted to try this thing on 40 to see kind of what it was like for me operating the same antenna now and how good it was as a multi-band antenna on 40 meters. Fortunately, I was spinning the dial and ran across Paul, OM0ET. He's also a YouTuber. He was streaming live. I was like, oh, this is great. I'll be able to hear myself. If you're familiar with Paul, I will put a link to his channel in the comments, also, I'm sorry, in the description below. And he's got a wonderful channel. He's also a manufacturer of loop antennas and ununs and puts out some really good products. Anyway, here's what I sounded like on Paul's end.
Okay, Sugar Papa, stroke Kilo 4, Oscar Golf Oscar, Oscar Mike 0 Echo Tango. Good evening, Walter. My name is Paul, and your signal report in the next over. Go ahead.
QSL, Paul, thanks for taking the call. You are 5959. I'm up on the Baltic in the north of Poland, about 60 kilometers west of Gdansk. Beautiful signal here tonight, Paul.
Okay, you have a beautiful signal too, Walter. You're 5 and 9 with me, 5 and 9 plus. 5 and 9 plus 5 maybe.
Well, I also had great success with this on 15 meters as well. Here's another example.
Okay, Sierra Papa slash K4 OGO, nice to meet you. 5 by 9, 59 here near Bordeaux City in southwest of France. Henry John QSL.
Well, there you go. If you have the means and you want to experiment with something a lot of fun, I mean, if you currently have an end-fed half-wave antenna and a couple of poles, give this a try. I had some wonderful success with it. I probably should have titled this video with a little help from my friends, because I want to give a big thank you to my friend Tim, G5TM. Your knowledge and what I get from you on YouTube is amazing. If you're not a subscriber to Tim's channel, get over there and do that. Paul, OM0ET, man, thank you for that stream and being close. I mean, that was really cool. I couldn't work Slovakia normally with the antennas because of how close we were, but this one worked out well. Thank you for that live stream. It was great to hear myself. That was good stuff. And Callum, hey, thanks for the model. That was just amazing. And I look forward to the antenna that I brought here. I'm going to take it back with me. I have a 10 meter DX Commander pole. I'm going to purchase another one from Callum and put the corner fed half square antenna up on the beach when I get back home with two good solid 10 meter DX Commander poles. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, I'm Walt, K4OGO. See you soon, guys. 73.